Hi y'all, it's your native Flor-xan, and today we're going to do something a little different than we normally do. You know, in my last video we took a pork shoulder and cut it in half and made some pork shoulder bacon, or some butt bacon if you want to call it. And I mentioned in the video that the other half I'd do something different with, and so that's what we're doing today. So hang in there and see what we're going to do with it. Alright folks, so it's the next day for making our bacon, and this is the other part of that shoulder. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to try to cut it kind of with the grain in probably about 1 inch thick pieces. So we got it cut up. I'm just going to kind of remove some of this fat. This is from where the pork shoulder wrapped around that bone, and this fat tends to be a little chewy. So there you go. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be perfectly even. So we're going to marinate this, and what we're going to try to make is some I think they say it Char Sui pork, I think's how it's said. Char Sui pork, which is a Chinese barbecue basically. I'm not good in pronouncing stuff, but I like it, and it's called Chinese barbecue, but you find it all over Asia. I've made a few trips over there, and I know Vietnamese culture, Thai culture, Chinese and Taiwan, they all got their own version of this. So we're just going to place it in this bowl here so that we can get our marinade on there. Alright, so on to our marinade. So what it's going to start with is some Chinese 5 spice. We're going to go about a tablespoon of that. And if you haven't used Chinese 5 spice, and I'm getting it everywhere. Alright, there we go. About a tablespoon of that. It's a good seasoning. I like it because it's got clove, star anise, stuff like that in it. We're going to go about a tablespoon of oyster sauce. This is a new bottle, so it's kind of like ketchup. Alright, so tablespoon of oyster sauce. Then we're going to go in with 2 tablespoons of some hoisin. Another good Asian, kind of like a barbecue sauce. I like it. So 2 tablespoons of that. Then we're going to go with 2 tablespoons of honey. Now I'm using just some Texas wildflower honey, but you're welcome to use whatever honey you like to use. I think the wildflower will add just a little extra something to this dish. Alright, so then we're going to go with 2 tablespoons of soy. Now I use a low sodium soy sauce, but you're welcome to use whatever kind. Chinese soy would probably be better in this. Then we're going to add just a little bit of white pepper. I'm just going to eyeball probably about a teaspoon or so. And then it wouldn't be Char Sui if it wasn't red, so we're just going to add just a little bit, just a few drops of some red food coloring, just to give us that red color that the Char Sui is known for. Alright, then all we got to do is whisk that up. So we got it whisked up. We're just going to dump it on our meat, then we're going to roll our meat around in it. Make sure we got coverage all over everything. So since we put that food coloring in there, I kind of want to put some gloves on and try not to get this all over my shirt. So again, we're just going to roll our meat around in this. Now I'm using a throwaway bowl because anytime I do anything with food coloring in it or something like a seasoning that's known for turning bowls color, I like to use a throwaway bowl in case I ruin it. I don't want to use the wife's fine china and get yelled at. So, but I think we got this coated pretty good. So we're gonna put this off into the fridge for overnight and cook this up tomorrow. We'll be back with you when we go to do it. Alright folks, so next, what we plan on doing with this char siu pork is we're going to make banh mi sandwiches out of it. And so you can't have a banh mi sandwich without some pickled vegetables. So what I got here is some daikon and some carrots. I'm going to get these peeled up and julienne them, and then we're going to make a pickling brine to put these in overnight so we have our pickled vegetables to go on our banh mi sandwiches. Alright folks, so the next thing we're going to do is get our brine. I took the carrots and the daikon and just kind of evened them out between 3 mason jars. And so what we're going to do is start off with 4 cups of water and get this heated up. Alright, so to that we're going to add a cup of rice vinegar. And I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt, but I'm going to use my smoked kosher salt. Then we're going to add a tablespoon of brown sugar. I'm going to give this a stir, get it going, and get everything dissolved in there. I'm also going to add a tablespoon of coriander seed. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of black peppercorn, and I'm going to add about a teaspoon of mustard seed. Again, we just want to get this good and hot, wake up all them seasonings. You know, if you wanted to add a few whole cloves in here, I'm sure that would go nicely with this, especially since your Chinese 5-spice powder has clove in it. Adding a little bit to this brine probably wouldn't be bad, but this is what we're going to go with for now. We're just going to bring this up to almost not a boil quite, but just a good hard simmer to make sure we woke up all them spices. Getting pretty close here, and then we're going to shut this off. And while it's hot, we're going to pour it down into our mason jars and then let it cool and get these vegetables to pickling. Alright folks, so we got us a good little rolling simmer. I think that's good enough. We're going to shut that off, transfer this into a different container to pour it in the jars, and go from there. Well, I couldn't find my wide mouth funnel, so just going to make use of this. Alright folks, so we got our jars filled up. I actually had to add a little bit of water to that in order to get this 3rd jar full. But I'm just gonna, I got this nifty little sealer here that'll vacuum that down and seal that down real good. And then we're just gonna let these cool, set them in the fridge, and we'll enjoy these tomorrow with our banh mi sandwiches. Alright folks, so it's the next day. We got our char siu pork out of the fridge, and we're fixing to get it in a pan and get it out to the pit, but I wanted to show you how we're going to do that. So basically what I'm going to do is take this, and I'm not going to rinse the marinade off, but I do want to kind of lightly just kind of roll my fingers down it and get it all off. Then we're going to use the rest of this. We're going to add a little bit to it and make us a glaze to glaze this down with while it's out there cooking on the pit. Alright, so I got a little pot. We're just going to push this, what's left of that marinade, in there. So I got this on a real low flame. All we're going to do is add some of our hoisin sauce back in here. A little bit of oyster sauce. We can shake it out of the bottle here. A little bit of honey. And then a little bit of soy. Just going to stir this around, and mainly want to cook out any of the stuff from having the meat in there. But we want to cook this down and make us a good glaze to glaze our pork with out there on the pit. So I'm going to let this go, let this cook down a little bit, get it to kind of boil a little bit, and then it'll be ready to go. Alright, so as you can see, we got this boiling real good. We're going to go ahead and shut this off and let it cool, and when the meat's ready out there on the pit, we'll start basting it down with this. Alright folks, so here we go. We're just going to place these on this side here. And then as they get closer to being done, I might move them a little closer to that center. Got the pit at 225. We're going to let these run for about an hour, flipping them a couple times, and then we'll start basting them down with our glaze. Alright, so we flipped them once. Just going to go ahead and take our baste and baste them down, let it set real good, and then we'll flip them over again, baste the other side. So far, looking good. Alright, so I just gave them a flip, basting them around and getting them a little closer to the heat. Just like with any pork, we're looking for about 165. These still got a little ways to go, but they're coming along nicely. That's the highest temping one right there at 156. So we'll let them run a little bit longer. It's only been about 40 minutes. So, all right, folks. So the goal is to try to make us a banh mi. Now this ain't going to be a technical banh mi, because when I went to the store to get bread, they didn't have the French bread that I wanted out. But I got some submarine rolls that I think are pretty close, and I'm just gonna put them in some foil. We're gonna put this out on the pit and let these warm up out there when our pork is getting close to being done. Alright folks, I didn't film it, but we got our meat off the pit. Just gonna grab some up here and see if I can slice this down. It's got that signature red because we put that dye in there. Smells awesome. I wish these cameras had smell-o-vision for you, because this dude is just smelling awesome. But I'm gonna slice these up thin, and I got our bread warmed up on the pit. We're gonna put one of these sandwiches together. So let me finish getting some of this sliced up, and I'll be back with you here in a blink of an eye. Alright, so we got our warmed up bread. I'm just gonna slice it, and I'm not gonna do the pate thing. That's typically what you see on a banh mi, is some kind of liver pate. We're just gonna do a little garlic aioli. I'm gonna put some of our pork on there. Got it sliced kind of thin. There we go. Got our pickled carrot and daikon that we did. Just gonna kind of place that around on there. And some fresh sliced cucumbers. A few little jalapeno slices. And a little bit of cilantro. And we have our Flor-xan Char Sui pork banh. Alright, so instead of y'all seeing me always eat, I got my son-in-law here. He's gonna try out our little Flor-xan banh sandwich. So give it a try there, David.
Okay, alright.
What you think about that?
That's killer. Oh man.
Good?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Alright.
The jalapeno got me. Woo.
Alright, and then for you non-carb eaters, I made this for the wife, which is just all the vegetables. Put some of the meat on there and some cilantro, and then I'm going to put a little bit of aioli on there for her. So again, simple thing to try. Takes a little time, you know, with the marinating stuff, but I think I got a total cook time out on the pit of about 1 hour and 15 minutes, so not too bad. Other than that, thanks for watching. Thanks to y'all that subscribed, and we'll see you on the next one.